All set.
We are all set.
Hello, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
I'm Ron.
I'm Judy.
And we're Full-Time Dream.
And we do tips, reviews,
and
real life RV problems.
Things that kind of get in the way of us, so that we have to work through to get to be full-time.
All right, so we are here today. We've been doing a kind of an agenda for the show. Thanks to everybody that's a returning subscriber. And if you haven't subscribed and you're watching on the replay, welcome.
Hello, Dry Campers. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Dry Campers. Survived your happy birthday? All right, so we're going to start out with our news story. And this is about a man who decided it was nice to go to have his own private island to boondock on. And unfortunately, it cost him $100 to dry camp there because it was on Disney property. So he was arrested for spending 2 days on this tropical island. He thought it looked nice.
Hello, First Motorhomes. How you doing? Thank you for coming in from the UK and nursing our travel bug. Thank you for coming in.
That game was tough.
Oh, the game was really tough. I didn't sleep last night. Okay, we've got a question of the day, or of the week.
Weekday, whatever.
When you winterize your camper, do you cover it?
Probably doesn't apply to people that are right here and now, but.
Hello, Monica Tiamani Arts. I think I got it right. Thank you for coming in.
So you did.
There you go. We always cover our camper, but I think that
there's a lot of pros and cons. Most people say not to cover your campers in the winter. And I think if I had a brand new Grand Design, something very nice, I probably wouldn't cover it. But our campers were usually older. And so we decided to buy covers for our one camper, and we liked it pretty much. But some of the cons for it is that it can scratch the surface. People say you can get mold on your roof. And then what we had a problem with was ripping and tearing. When it's windy and that kind of thing, they'd rip and tear. And they're a pain to take off.
It's not really all that bad to get it all washed and waxed, because she does that. I don't. I sit back and watch her do it, and I get the pleasure of putting the cover on. But once we take the cover off, she does all of the job of washing and waxing it again.
But the motorhome was the biggest one. That's hard to get it off because of your air conditioners and everything on top. The cover is heavy and it's hard to store. But like I said, we did get scratches from ours. So, but if you have any leaks, it can help so that and none of the leaks get inside over the winter. It helps keep it clean.
Hi, Fordman, aka Kenneth Oaks. How you doing today? Looks like we're going to get a raid from K&R.
Anything else you want to share on that for the moment?
No, I think that I'm pretty good with that.
All right.
Weekly we do a superstar salute, and this week we're bringing in somebody that is more about taking care of those that can't take care of themselves and doing a great job of it. So we're going to bring up, you ready to come up, Rebecca? Yep, she's good. Hello, this is Rebecca Whitman.
Hi. I didn't know that I was being a superstar salute, though. Thank you.
You want to tell us a little bit about yourself there?
Sure. Wow. A lot of people know me as the crazy cat lady, and I take that as a compliment. I teach elementary art in Jamestown. Let you go. And I've been teaching for 31 years this year, but not all of those years have been here in New York. 3 of them were in Pennsylvania. I was born and raised mostly in Jamestown. Tell us about, see, this is like an interview at work. Tell us about yourself. I just have always loved nature. I love photography, and of course cats and art and kids, and love the outdoors.
She takes some awesome pictures.
Thanks.
I'm very jealous. I think the winter project will be you can teach me how to use my camera.
Almost all those pictures that I ever post, though, are just from my iPhone.
Wow.
Or just from my phone. But I do love photography.
Okay. And you're located in Jamestown.
Yes, located in Jamestown. It's pretty much, my house is actually owned by my cats. Not really, but they just let me live here. It wasn't a planned thing to be a cat rescuer. My son and I were actually talking about taking our wildlife rehabilitation licensing, and we're studying for that. And I had a good friend who ran a cat rescue, and I was happy to help. And she was leaving the state and said, "You have to take over." And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not taking over." Because you have to take over. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not taking over." Then my son went away to college, and I had all this extra time and energy, and I'm like, "Oh, what do I do with it? That would be a good thing." And Whiskers and Wishes was born.
Okay. As we're going along through the interview, if anybody has any questions they want to ask Rebecca, please.
Yeah, the dry campers ask what's Rebecca's channel name. She doesn't have a YouTube channel, but we will be putting her Facebook page and the links to her charity in the description below.
Yeah, if anybody else has got any questions, if you type in question into the chat so that I can see it, because of course I don't see very well. So if you type that before you do the question, I can get it asked for you. Okay. Well, you answered the first question I had on there is how did you get started rescuing cats? So you pretty much explained that to us.
Yeah, it was not planned. It was kind of, I fell into it. We still actually do a lot of rescuing for nature. I would say, animals. We sometimes the cats bring them to us. And I have a couple of friends who are rehabbers, so luckily we have people, that are qualified to do that. But we end up taking care of a lot of little critters. Sometimes the visits are unexpected. For some reason, we have bats that like to visit my house, even though it's a cat rescue of all places. So we actually had a little bit of a scare because that rabies, there's a few cases that have been found in the county in the last month or so. And so, we had to make sure that everybody's up to date on shots. And I have as many as 43 cats in the house at a time. So that was interesting to make sure I'm really good at cat behavior and taking care of cats, but not all the best at keeping paperwork all straightened out and, finding it when I need it. But we made it through, and that turned out okay.
Well, I don't even have to ask questions because every question I get about ready to ask, you answer. Is it hard to get the adult cats adopted out?
Yes, it is very hard. Kittens are usually in high demand, shall I say. Everybody wants a kitten. I won't say everybody, but they're mostly wanted. And so people who want a cat, an adult that is a little calmer, and kittens kind of have their crazy months as they're little and everything. And lots of times an older adult will want a cat that's calmer, out of the, shall we say, climbing the curtain stage and all of that. It's a good idea to adopt a cat that's either a year old or older. They're considered a kitten until they're a year. But it is difficult to place an adult cat. And what's happened is if they don't get placed, they become a permanent member here. And Sarabi there, the picture that's on the screen, is a very good friend of mine that I went through high school together with, and we're still very close. She lives across the country, but her nephew unexpectedly passed away, and this was one of his cats, and she was very special to him. And there was 3 of them, and Sarabi is called a snow bangle, and his wife called and asked if I could place these cats, but please, to keep one. Mom wanted me to keep one too, so that she could come and visit. She's very allergic, and so Sarabi stays with me. And Sarabi also has a serious health issue called stomatitis, where the only way they can successfully treat it, it's an autoimmune disease, and it's becoming more and more common. The only way they can successfully treat it is by removing all of the teeth, and they normally have to have depot shots or prednisone shots once every, I'd say, 4 to 6 weeks. So she stays with me, and I take good care of her, and she's doing quite well. She is one of the lucky ones, because a lot of times I did lose one of my favorite personal cats to stomatitis just not that long ago. So it's a nasty thing. Sometimes the prognosis can be managed. It can be good. They can be managed, but sometimes it just is too difficult. The body sort of attacks itself.
So how does the cat eat? Is it just a soft?
Yeah, you would think that it would only be soft food, but it does not take very long for their gums to toughen up, and they a lot of times will prefer the dry food again. I don't think they chew it. I watch her real close, and she just sort of eats it, and I don't know how she doesn't choke, but a lot of times they, if that's what their favorite food is, they'll eat it whether they've got teeth or not. They're very determined.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I went to my next question was.
I'm preempting you, aren't I?
Well, she kind of. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with you.
Interviewing isn't our strong suit yet, I guess.
Do you have a regular vet that you go to? And
yes, we actually have a couple. I probably have been to every vet in the county. In order to keep up with all the cats that we have, we have to have more than one vet that we work with. But for the most part, we work with Moonbrook here in Jamestown, and they have been amazing. They give us special prices for spays and neuters, and that enables us to have a much better adoption fee, and that's what the adoption fee covers. And so we're just so appreciative of them. There's been several times that Dr. Raffle has come in on off hours, Sunday nights, for emergencies and for unusual situations. There's been a lot of times that I get phone calls, and unfortunately, we have a cat that's been hit. Come get it. And it's like, well, I'm not a vet, but the thought of that cat laying there and suffering all weekend doesn't sit well with me. So I usually agonize over it, and I hate to call Dr. Raffle on off hours, because he does so much for us, but I have a couple of times, and he's always been more than willing to come in and help. And sometimes my job ends up being just helping them cross the Rainbow Bridge, or, ending their suffering. Because a lot of times when a cat's been hit, it's pretty serious. I've seen and done things I never thought I would in rescue. We've seen some pretty, difficult things, grisly things. I don't know if you've ever heard of a botfly larva. I didn't know such a thing, but when we started taking, I've learned by trial and error and by researching, but mostly trial and error. And we got a litter of kittens in, and one of the kittens had what seemed to be an abscess or two. And so I was very carefully cleaning the abscesses. And while I was cleaning, a little something came out of the abscess and kind of looked around and went back down in. It was kind of like from a Star Wars scene or something. Like, what was that?
Did I just see what I just saw?
Yeah, that really creeped me out. And so I immediately called my vet tech friend. Is like, told her what happened. She said, "Oh yeah, I know what that is. Bring her on down and we'll take care of that." And she says, "You don't want to do it yourself, because if you don't get it just right, it could be a problem." But I always thought that was something that was common, like only in like a rainforest area, but it really is common here. That's another reason why it's so important for kittens to be well taken care of, to be to have good nutrition and to be cared for, because the botfly will lay eggs on their skin, usually behind the ears or on the neck, and when they hatch, they'll go right into biting a hole, and they'll chew a hole right into the skin, and their goal is to reach the brain or the lungs, and it will kill them. And what a horrific kind of way to go. So that's just one of the many reasons it's so important that they're well taken care of. And so like I said, I've learned a lot kind of the hard way. I also didn't know that fleas can actually cause severe anemia, and fairly quickly, and your cat can die from that, and especially kittens. And the way to check for that, if you ever find a stray kitty or kitten and you're concerned about that, is to check its gums. Pull its lip down and check its gums, and the whiter the gums are, the more anemic they are. And we've had kittens come in that have had pure white gums, and if they had gone one more day without some sort of treatment, they easily would have died from fleas. So most of the time people don't think of fleas as being that deadly, but they really can be. That's little Hook, the picture of this kitten, and I'll have to post it again sometime. But Hook was born with a leg that was a hook. Real unique name, right? But it stuck. We nicknamed her that, and it kind of stuck. And it was very, very malformed, and she couldn't really even walk on it when she was born. And we brought her to the vet, and the vet said, it's 50-50 chance it'll straighten out, but she won't care. You might care, it might look bad, but she won't care. So we kind of did kitty therapy with her. We made sure she got lots of exercise and walked around a lot when she was little. And it was an amazing thing to watch that little hook leg straighten out and become completely normal. She rips around here like nothing's wrong anymore. But she will use that leg still as a hook. She will grab things with it. And I swear it's like more capable of getting things than her normal leg.
I'm going to say hello to a few more people here. We got K&R showed up. We got Eating Good in the Woods. Good to see everybody here. I've just, that Manic S.
That's my sister.
Oh, okay.
She's incognito.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Right now we're talking with Rebecca from Whiskers and Wishes, and she does a cat rescue, and she's telling us about what she does.
Okay.
Say hi to some of your people, and I'll grab a few of our little friends.
Okay.
Everybody entertain yourself.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up. If you could give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down or whatever you want to give us, or whatever you do would be great.
We're going to have links to Rebecca's charities. She has a Facebook, and they have a raffle going on right now. And here's your kitten cuteness for the day.
The rest of them are sleeping.
Can I put her up? So this little guy did come in extremely anemic. He was just covered with fleas, and I mean to the point where, like, when we gave him a bath, the kitchen kind of looked like a murder scene. There was just bloody water everywhere because there was just so many fleas. I saw that picture. That was yeah, this was one of them. And that's how Buddy was when I met Ron. He recovered really well. He's doing so good, and he's nice and healthy, and he's spoken for.
and he's going to get a great home. And that's what keeps me going. Whenever they get a good home and people send me pictures of them happy and healthy. There's been several times that I've wanted to give up and say, all right, I'm done with this. This is too hard. It's too heartbreaking because we do lose a lot of them. There's been lots of bad outbreaks of distemper, which if you ever get a chance, if you get a kitten, please, as soon as they're old enough, make sure you get their distemper shots, because that is a horrible disease that's extremely preventable, and you don't ever want to have to watch your kitty go through that.
What does it do? I mean, it's something I've heard of, obviously, but
pan leuk, and it's a sickness that I really can't say a whole lot about it other than it's viral, and the vaccine is very effective. There's a series of three. When they're three, I'm not used to the three of them, and when they get those, the vaccines do prevent it. Like I said, we have gone through it. There's another outbreak kind of going on right now. So there's a lot of kittens that have died this year of pan leuk, and they have to be, it's different for different vets, but some vets will say 6 weeks and some will say 8 weeks to get their first shot. And if you can't catch them, like when they're stray, what a cuddle bug, when they're stray and they don't get those shots, if they get this disease, it manifests itself in a lot of different ways. What I've seen is a lot of times first you'll notice it in their eyes. Their eyes will start to twitch, and that's kind of the beginning of seizures, and they'll have seizures. And it's just a really awful thing to watch, because once it starts happening, there's really nothing you can do about it, and you'll lose them. Hi. And so it's super important to get them vaccinated. Rabies is also out there. We talked a little bit about. There's been a couple of cases. That's not something you want to mess with either, and it's fatal for humans as well. I've had several friends that have actually had to go through the rabies shots. One was just a freak thing. She was out jogging and she got hit in the face by a bat, and then it flew away. And she's like, well, that was odd, but luckily she was smart enough to tell her doctor about it, and her doctor said, yeah, you need to come in. But so it's just something that is preventable. Pan leuk, it's nothing to mess with. We lost 11 kittens one spring, and it was a pretty horrible thing to go through. And that almost made me quit the cat rescue. To watch little innocent critters like this die horrible deaths is pretty tough.
That's the part I couldn't do.
Yeah, you really need a good support system. You need your friends that are there to support you. You need wind in your sails, because if you don't keep your cup at least half full, then you don't have anything to give. And that part of it's probably more important than anything. You need a good vet. You need good friends. You need the finance part of it. Don't jump into it thinking you're going to make a difference if you don't have some way to drum up some business, some finances and some adoptions, because you'll end up with a house full of cats really quick. And
so what is the main way that you get donations and do the money part of it for yourself?
Before, what it was, I would do a lot of sip and paint classes. So I'd hold those classes, and that was really good. Mostly right now it's donations and then out of my pocket. Now, Martha Sanders, out of her own idea, I had nothing to do with it at all, set up a fundraiser, and all I have to do is sit back and watch what's going on. So I've had such wonderful people. There's been tons and tons of people that have been so generous in donating. And going up there, you're going up there. You
want to talk more about the raffle and how people could get involved with it, or?
I guess through the link, they're putting together baskets. People have donated baskets and items that they're, I guess they're doing it the ticket style. So you buy a certain amount of tickets, and I have to read up on it too myself. I've been super busy with school since I'm back to school full time and running the rescue. So like I said, they've done it all on their own, and they have, I'll post links and stuff too. You said you have a link.
Yeah, it's going across the bottom right now.
Yeah.
Facebook at Whiskers and Wishes. You can find Rebecca and the raffle is at Whiskers and Wishes Fall Frenzy event. It's a group on Facebook.
Yes, and Lori Wilkins is helping with that. There's just some great people that I've been so lucky to have in my life that have just really stepped up and volunteered. A childhood friend from, she moved away when I was 11 years old, and we stayed in touch and stayed so close. And she actually runs my website for me. She runs Subscription, which is from Texas.
Okay.
So there's just some, you know, I would not be able to do this without people like that. I have people that I can call anytime, day of the night. Where are you headed?
We don't need cat butt on TV, on
Yes.
YouTube. We might get censored.
Cute
wanted to say hello to Weekend RVing and Meant to Be RVing. Thank you for coming in.
And we have a question. Do you have a list of things that you may need that could be donated, towels or sheets or anything like that?
Yes, I'm always going to sales looking for towels, washcloths, sheets. We always buy extra carriers because we never have enough carriers. I actually have a vet appointment tomorrow where I hold 9 cats with me. So
I thought taking all 3 animals was a challenge.
9 is going to be interesting. We usually don't have quite that many, but there's been times. So yeah,
discount for bringing them in bulk.
Yes. Then and he gives us a discount for you know, taking that many cats too, which is so good of them. I would say Purina Kitten Chow is something we use even for the adults, because a lot of times the adults come in starved. I mean, they're starving and they're malnourished, and that's a good thing to bring them back up to weight. It helps put some weight back on them. Hi.
What am I doing here?
So Purina Kitten Chow, that's always a good thing. If you want to donate directly to a vet, there's always vet care. Like I said, Moonbrook would be a good place to donate. A lot of people will do that. They'll send money directly to them.
So what, do they just send it in on your behalf as far as for?
Yep, you can say Whiskers and Wishes, or Whiskers and Wishes, or Rebecca Whitman. I'm going to hand this little guy off to my husband.
The significant other.
I'm going to bring that.
Getting a little wiggly. So yeah, if I can put a plug in there, I definitely want to put in that plug to spay and neuter your cats. A lot of people think it's okay if, the cat had another litter of kittens, you know, and they get a little older and you can't find any homes. We're just going to put them in the car and drive them on a back road and set them free. And it sounds so wonderful, and it's so not. They will either starve to death, or because a house cat who has had food provided does not have a regular instinct to go out and hunt for their food. So they will either starve to death, or they will become a meal for a wildlife, you know, some wildlife critter, or they'll go in a car. Yeah. So a lot of
people, how we got our Tater kitty, because Ron was out in the woods and walking along doing his job, and there was a bunch of kittens that getting attacked, and ours was smart enough to hide under a log. And
yeah. So it's a really, it can be such a horrible way to go. So let me just encourage anybody to please find an SPCA or a rescue or someone that's willing to help you, because you're really sentencing that animal to probably a terrible death. If they're lucky enough to get found by somebody who's compassionate to give them a home, that's awesome. But I think that probably for the most part that doesn't happen. So I'm just going to really put that plug in for spaying and neutering. You're going to end up spending a whole lot less money in the long run on food and doing the right thing, getting all the shots, and making sure that that animal doesn't suffer.
We're getting some comments on this kitty. You want to tell us about this one?
This little kitty is, her name is Chirp. And like I said, we come up with some interesting names. We've been at this for 13 years, and I've pretty much run out of names. Chirp, when she was little, that's all she would do is chirp like a bird. She did not sound like a cat. And we said, great, we have another broken cat. So that's why she stayed, but she's wonderful. She's a really good little kitty, but she was a part of a litter, and she was the last one that never got adopted. And it's pretty bad when you start allowing your cats to adopt your cats. But my son had gone away to college, and his kitty that he's so fond of really literally adopted Chirp. And Chirp was that kitty's favorite, and they were so close to each other. I really did not want to break them up. So Chirp got to stay. And he is so naughty, but we love our naughty ones too.
I just want to know how you get the cats to pose for these pictures.
Well, Heather Whitnick, one of my best friends, is such a good photographer, and it's very obvious for these. She took all of these pictures, and she's really good. We use all the tricks we can. You know, we use little treats and toys and stuff to try to get them to look just right, but she makes the magic happen. She makes these photos are just beautiful. We have a lot of props too.
I didn't even realize the cups had little kitties on them until
those were gifts from somebody and I have a lot of, well, kind of a closet hoarder, not so much a closet hoarder, but yeah, I've got lots of cool stuff to take pictures with. This is Sparkle. Sparkle was the McDumpster kitty. She literally is a little tiny kitten, was found in McDonald's dumpster up here on Foote Avenue, and by a good friend's parents. And when she first came in, she was what I would say completely feral. You couldn't touch her without getting bit or scratched. She was very wild. And within 3 days, she was so strongly bonded to me. She followed me everywhere like a shadow. And this was earlier during the rescue experience. And she and I just have a special bond. I just love her to death. And she's probably the naughtiest cat in the house. She comes up with all kinds of ways to get into trouble, but I just love her so much. There's Sparkle. There's Hattie. And Hattie, I kind of joke and say she was our $3,000 cat. The poor thing, when she came in, was so sick. And she had an emergency C-section and spent almost 3 weeks at the vet. And she had to have a blood transfusion. And like I said, with a trial and error learning, cats can only have, it's either 1 or 2. I think it's 2 blood transfusions. And she had her 1. And she was very ill, but without saying anything other than posting the story, somebody who I didn't even know at the time took the initiative to put a GoFundMe up, and Melissa was able to raise all of them. She is gorgeous. She's a wonderful girl, and I post her all the time because she's kind of she's just lovely. And so she posted the GoFundMe, and when the GoFundMe was done, and a lot of the money was donated straight to Moonbrook as well, we had $5 left over, and I bought the pill pockets. And so I went home with a $0 bill. I mean, I didn't have to pay anything for her care, which just blew me out of the water. It was amazing. And she's lovely. We've had her, I would say she's been here about 5 years now. And she required a lot of aftercare, but she's gotten it, and we just love her to death.
There's the gang.
There's a few crew.
Considering you said, what did you have right now? 43?
There's 43 in the house right now.
And like for you and your husband?
They own the house. They just let me live here.
Now, do people call you and say that there's a feral cat and you go and trap them to try to get them straightened out?
Sometimes.
Or do you leave them alone?
I have a little bit of a health issue, and I don't have a very strong immune system, so I really can't deal with ferals much. And I say that, but I have dealt with ferals a lot. If you get them early enough, they can certainly be tamed. Even adult ferals can be tamed by a person who has a lot of patience and a lot of time. I do have a feral that's been living here with me. Her name is Annie, and she has been here for 8 years, and I have never touched Annie. She cannot tolerate human touch. When you try to touch her, even with a wand, which is what we start with, we'll start with a, a cat toy or something that's on the end of a stick so that you're not actually touching, because if you haven't experienced a cat bite or a good cat scratch, they're not fun, and they do get infected really easily, even if you don't have an immune system issue. I was attacked by a cat one time, and it put me in the hospital for 5 days. So it's not something to take lightly, but Annie has been with us all that time, and she's wonderful to all the other cats. She's content. She purrs. She lets you get close to her. She just is still feral. She is what you would call a wild cat, and generationally, ferals will become smaller and smaller, and the research will tell you that it's because the smaller they are, the less food they need to find, and the easier it is to conserve energy, and so they really are a wild cat. So sometimes they're very difficult to tame. We have tamed some adults, but I try never to take ferals just because of my health issue, and there's certainly enough of the tameable ones that need to be rehomed, and I usually can find homes for them. So I try to stick with them. Once in a while, I do have a lot of friends that are much better at taming ferals than me. I watched a certain someone sit out in a full blizzard. It was snowing like crazy for an hour, coaxing in a feral and spending all winter long taming her. And Wayne was able to tame this little girl. We called her Frosty because she looked like she had white frost all over her all the time. She was never assimilated in the house. She couldn't tolerate that, and she could only tolerate you touching her at certain times. And she was always hyper aware of her surroundings, and she was always very careful. But it was very rewarding to watch him tame that feral, and we were able to take care of her for years outside. We have several shelters set up out there, and we fed her, and we really enjoyed her company for the time that she was with us.
I think you said that all of the cats that you have now are spoken for?
Pretty much, yes. There are a couple that are what I would call special needs cats. We do have a little girl, Ellie, who is a kitten. She's still considered a kitten because she's only a year old. And did you know that black cats are the least adopted, and black dogs in shelters? People are superstitious. I think that's why I personally think they're gorgeous. You can really see their lines when they're black like that. And you see lots of pictures on my site of Luna, our black cat with the green eyes. And she's the only one that's allowed outside of the catio that we have, because she came in stray and she was so acclimated to outside, it's impossible to keep her in. We do keep her in all winter, but it's a fight. And, she's black, and Ellie, it was short for Elvira. She's our special needs kitty. I wonder if I could carry you over to her. She is a beautiful cat, but she's picked on. There's definitely a pecking order in the cat world too. And is Ellie. And she is really, really picked on by the other cats here. And I feel so bad for her. And the Luna that I was talking about, here's Luna. And see, on my wall, I've painted a tree, and there's little shelves where they can sit on the actual painted tree. So Luna and Ellie are enjoying that. But I really would love to find a home for Ellie, because she's the bottom of the pecking order, and she's becoming super nervous and having a couple of behavioral issues because of it. It seems like almost like a piranha thing. When there's blood in the water, they all seem to pick on that particular one. And for whatever reason, she's like kind of shy, and they sense that victim in her, and they'll go right after her and really pick on her. So I'd like to give her a nice, peaceful, quiet home where she can enjoy herself and not have to be on guard all the time.
So if anybody in the area knows of anybody.
Is there an application that people need to fill out?
We used to do an application, and really your only application is to send me a message and say you're interested, and then I will stalk the heck out of you. Seriously though, I feel like I'm can be better than an FBI agent when it comes to this, because you're dealing with my children, you're dealing with my fur kids. We invest not only money but our love, and we really spend a lot of time with them, and we really care about them. So usually I will ask for a vet reference, and the vets in the area are very open about somebody being a good pet owner or not. And believe it or not, your friends are also very honest. If I message your friends, they'll tell me, yeah, this person's been so great with their pets, or they're kind of having a lot of conflict in their life right now. Maybe now's not the best time. So I will do a lot of checking to see if you would make a good owner. A lot of times I get people that will send me messages saying, hey, you should ask so-and-so if they would adopt, because they're just such a good pet owner. So we'll just check it. That's pretty much what we do. We don't really have an official application. When you come, there is a contract that you sign just saying that if you have to, for whatever reason, an unforeseen reason, have to relinquish your pet, that you would do it to me so I could rehome them, or you and I can come to an agreement as to where this animal should go. I mean, if you have a mom or something who's also in love with the cat and you have to move, then I'm certainly okay with something like that. Just please let me know. And so the contract really is more so for me to remember who went where than for any major legal purposes, although it does protect us legally.
I see.
So how many cats over the years do you think you've rehomed?
I truly believe within the last 13 years, it's been well over 1,000. Yeah, I've got, like I said, I'm not the greatest at keeping all that paperwork straight, but we've kind of gone through our notebooks and our papers, and we've seen a lot of kitties go through here.
And I know that there's should be a fee included in adopting that, and I know that's to try to help pay for the vet bills and all that.
Right. And I will be totally honest with you. The adoption fee is $100, and that does not cover the spay cost. It actually costs us more than that, but it's what I want to do. I really think that for some crazy reason, cats have become the bane of society as far as being drive-through throwaway animals, and it drives me crazy. I think they're an amazing animal. They're smart, way smarter than we give them credit for. And they're smart. They're loving. They're so loyal. If you are lonely, they make such a good companion. They know when something is wrong, and they respond to that. They said that there's even research that a purring animal will expedite the healing of a broken bone. How true that is, I don't know, but I read that. They're just.
I wish it would help me lose weight instead.
Wouldn't that be a bonus?
Because Tater just constantly purrs, and he purrs loud. He likes to sleep on my pillow at night on my head, and he'll purr for an hour.
I think that is so comforting. I love that sound. That puts me to sleep. A lot of people are like, stop, but I love that sound. So I don't know. It's just our thing. It's just our mission to try to get as many into a loving home as we possibly can. So the adoption fee does not cover their food, their vet care, their shots, any of that. It just covers their spay, and it doesn't even cover all of that cost. They do give us a discounted price, but we just it's just a real strong mission of ours. It's something we tease. I have some friends of mine, and we said that we're going to start something called the Meowfia, because we all happen to be Italian. And once you get into cat rescue, you don't get out.
It's not leaving.
I've tried several times. I really have wanted to get out because the heartbreak had gotten to be too much, or mostly that's the only reason I've ever wanted to get out. It gets a little overwhelming. I hate telling people no, but when I've got 43 and they say, hey, I've got a litter of 7 kittens and a mom, it's like, I literally don't have a physical space to put them. I mean, like, I have no place to, house them. But Oh, yeah. See, they really do. I love that comment. I fell down the basement stairs and my cat was right there trying to figure out what was wrong. They're so intuitive and they really do fiercely love their owners. So totally.
That's your cue.
That's pretty much all of my questions have been asked or answered before I was able to ask them.
Well, like you had the nursing kittens.
Yeah. As far as the kittens that have to be nursed, what type of schedule do you have to keep with them?
Oh, those are the tough ones. Believe it or not, I've done both human, baby, and kittens are way harder. They have to be fed every 2 hours, and yes, including through the night, for quite a while, and then it gets longer and longer between the times. It takes a really special person to raise a kitten without a mother. We always try to find a nursing mom, and usually nursing moms are very good about taking in fosters. Not always. We've had some fails, but it's always best because you know how they say mother's milk is best. They're right. A cat's milk has so many nutrients and antibodies in it that we can't duplicate in formula. And this is a good time to put that plug in. Don't ever feed a cat milk, believe it or not. Cow's milk is not good for cats. It does actually cause kidney and liver damage over time. And you may say, well, I've always given my cat milk. You might have, but you also might be causing some kidney or liver damage in your cat without knowing. It's very difficult for them to digest the enzyme that's in it. So again, with kittens, you have to buy special kitten milk. And also a little plug, if you do have to take care of a kitten, there's something called a miracle nipple. We are in New York. If you buy a little miracle nipple, and that's online, that is one that is a game changer that we found. It just is shaped correctly. The ones that the little bottles and stuff that you get at most pet stores are just not shaped very well, and the kitten will have a very difficult time trying to latch on to that. If you use I've actually had better luck with a dropper than those bottles, but you have to be super careful even with a dropper, because if you push the milk in, you have a danger of the kitten aspirating. So as easy as it might look or sound, you really want to contact somebody who's got experience feeding kittens before you try to take it on yourself. There's a lot of little hints and tips I'm sure that they can share with you, a few of which I shared. It's a big undertaking. It's very rewarding, and there is nothing cuter, but it's a lot of work and little sleep.
I have no idea how you find the time to do all this.
Well, when I'm off in the summers from teaching is when I will agree to do the kittens that need bottle fed. But I will try very hard to find a nursing mom because I know how important that is. But I have bottle raised many, many, many kittens.
Okay, we're getting into the point where
15 minutes.
We got about 15 minutes left in the live. If anybody's got any questions at all for Rebecca or anything that they want to ask. And
hi, Northwoods.
Oh, and I didn't say hi to Carl's Off Grid when he came in either, but
he was wondering what state we were from, and that's why I just all in the middle said, "Oh,
Western,
we're from New York."
Yeah, Western New York.
It's a little ways away from your off-grid cabin, though.
That sounds like heaven.
Is that all your questions?
That's all of my questions.
Did you want to go again and tell people about how you can help you by donating money and what you've got going on there?
Best way to find me or contact me is through Facebook. Even at school, if I've got a break for 5 minutes, I'm on my I'm on Facebook looking at my messages about the cats. And I do, probably 50% of the work through Facebook, just connecting people that need connected. There's a lot of rescues in the area that have helped me, and I try to help them. They always can use the same supplies I can. Any animal, any kitten, cat, whatever that gets adopted makes me happy. It doesn't have to be from me. Of course, personally helps this house because it's a little crowded. But
43 of them in your house is
yeah.
you don't really need anymore.
Yeah, but there's so many everywhere. The SPCA is inundated. They really do have a good spay and neuter program going. Westfield has a wonderful facility and they help cats. There's a lot in the area. It shouldn't be too hard to find somebody to help out, and truly just what do I want to say? Verbalizing your appreciation helps people that are in rescue. There's a lot of rescue fatigue. It's hard to watch them suffer, and you do see a lot of suffering. Little things that you can give them. There are car chamois at the Dollar Tree. They're little white fuzzy car chamois that were perfect for blankets for cats, and they love them because they're the little furry ones. They'll sit there and knead them. And those are, since they're only $1 a piece, you can afford to, pick up 5 or 10 of them for a rescue. And let's say they get really soiled, you don't feel so guilty about throwing that away instead of trying to put that through your washer. Because when they come in and they're sick, kitten diarrhea, it does not smell good. So that's really helpful.
Well, that's a great way to wind up the night.
Diarrhea. But those little blankets, stuff like that. If you pick up stuff at household sales, used towels, anything like that, they're always very welcome. We do a lot of cleaning. If you want to donate cat litter, I personally use, believe it or not, horse bedding that you get at Tractor Supply, the little wood pellets. That's what we use for litter, and it works really well for cat litter. Let's see, blankets, towels, donate directly to the vet that the rescue uses. I use Moonbrook a lot. What else? There's, cat food. We always need Purina Kitten Chow. You can give somebody a gift certificate from Chewy.com. Chewy's a great company. They've made, let me say this. A lot of people have donated from Chewy because when their pet passes away, instead of trying to send the stuff back, Chewy will say, please just donate it. And anytime there's an incorrect order, donate it to a rescue. So we appreciate that kind of thing that they've been doing. Trying to think of anything else. We do lots of projects, like we've made a catio out of the front porch, and we have little cat doors so they can come and go as they please all year long. It's pretty funny to watch them go out there in the snow. They really do enjoy playing in the snow. I'll have to get some footage on of them doing that later instead of sooner. And
February, maybe.
There's always like construction kind of things that we're doing, making shelves across the walls and trying to keep them engaged and playing and active and healthy.
For the most part, they all get along. Is that?
They do. That's one of the most common things that people tell me. How do you get them all to get along? It's not a whole lot of what I do. I think they sense when they come in that we're here to help them and that they went from a really bad situation to a little bit of a better situation. There's always a pecking order, and whenever there's a new one that comes in, there's a little bit of hissing and stuff, but really there isn't any more than that. They do seem to get along really well. I really enjoy watching their behavior. I have used pheromone plugins before, and I don't think that they work here. I think there's just too many cats for something like that to work, but people have said that they do work. They look like this, and sometimes it's a cat pheromone, and it's almost like a plug-in, like for an air freshener. But it's supposed to help kind of create a atmosphere of more peace and but like I said, I think with 43 we're beyond one of these. So we just try to keep several feeding stations so that nobody's having to compete. It's just kind of knowing what they need and making sure that their needs are met, making sure they don't have to compete for food or for space. There's lots of space. They have to have, I don't know if you saw my social distancing picture the other day, but they have to have a certain amount of space to be comfortable. Some of them get along really well and they'll lay together, but sometimes they want like their personal space too. So just making sure there's lots of spaces that they can go to feel safe. They're not having to like fight for a particular litter box, and that there's plenty of litter boxes, that kind of thing. And one little plug too, remember when I said that fleas can be very dangerous? A lot of the flea treatments out there do not work, so don't waste your money. I will say that a lot of people have told me those terrestrial collars work well. I personally don't like collars on cats. I've had 2 friends that have had their cats die because they've gotten caught. But terrestrial collars are breakaways. So if you're comfortable with those, a lot of people have said that those are really good. Advantage is not working anymore. Advantage, the fleas seem to have developed a tolerance to, so don't waste your money on it. The best luck I've had this year is Revolution or Frontline. And some people are saying that even Frontline is starting to decline as well. There will always be a rollover. Whatever worked last year doesn't mean it'll work again this year. Kind of ask your friends that are into cats or dogs and find out from them what's working and what isn't. That's the best way to find out. Or vet, of course.
Interesting.
Okay, well, we're just about run through the whole entire show.
We knew you could talk.
Say. Italian.
We want to thank Rebecca for coming in, and she's our second Superstar Salute, where we kind of bring attention to people in the local area around us that do special things that we think deserve to be recognized.
And the links for her Facebook and the raffle will be down below in the links, so you guys can check those out if you want to donate. And
your Facebook page is Whiskers and Wishes.
Whiskers and Wishes, or you can find me just by Rebecca Whitman. And trust me, I'm not a one-man show. I could not do this with all the support I'm getting from my close friends and from Wayne making the catio and doing all the crazy construction projects that I ask him to do, and all the people that donate without me even asking. There's just so much support, and honestly, I could not, no way would I do this. Trisha over in Texas doing my webpage for me, and the VAT, and there's just so many people. You know, it might be my house is the hub, but it's only the tip of the iceberg of the whole operation.
Well, somebody has to be the hub to keep it all together and get it going, though.
Thank you, cat lady. That.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
Nope. I think that's pretty much it. Again, I want to thank you very much for coming in, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me.
We will talk to you soon. And I'm going to let you go. Anything else you want to say?
I think I said a lot.
All right. We do too. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
Okay. Well, that was a little bit longer than we thought, but it got going and everything was going great. So we just continued with it. Right now if
you can drop a link for Northwoods, they're on it.
Yeah, we're going to go
8 o'clock. I got to go run and put the Masked Singer on for my mom so she doesn't miss it.
We need to make sure that we raid Northwoods when we leave. I want to thank everybody. Oh, hi, Casual Girl. You got here just a little bit late, but
it's okay. You can watch the replay.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that you can check us out and hit that notification bell so that you know when our live streams come on. We're going to try to stay every Wednesday at 7 o'clock if we possibly can. And again,
if you got anybody you want to shout out that would be good for our Superstar Salute, feel free to send us an email.
Okay. I want to thank you, and thank you, Sue from Lucky Dog Production, for moderating for us tonight. And thank you for putting the link in there for us.
All set?
And we're all set.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. See you next week.